Good morning, micro followers. I have had a ton of requests for soap making recipes and tutorials. So I have spent the last 8 days trying to create a video for you guys, and a couple other social media platforms are giving me a hard time. So I directed everybody over here to YouTube, and today I'm going to share with you the recipe that I began with 8 years ago. So we're going to take a trip back to the colonial days when soap making was easy. Get ready to pause. I'm going to give you supplies and 2 different recipes to choose from. Recipe number 1 is your basic lard and lye soap recipe. You are going to need 4.5 ounces of water. But in these recipes, I like to substitute with as much ice as possible. That way it keeps down on the lye fumes, and I'll explain that as we're going along. You're going to need 2.2 ounces of lye, 16 ounces of lard, and your choice of fragrance oil. Please do not go out and buy fragrance oil from Walmart. It is not the same. You either need to use essential oils or fragrance oils that are specifically created for cosmetic purposes. The second recipe is your lard and coconut oil soap bar, and that is the one that I'm going to be doing today in this tutorial. Please make sure that if you decide to use recipe number 1, that you are following recipe number 1 and not my prompts throughout the video. You will need 4.8 ounces of water, 2.4 ounces of lye, 12 ounces of lard, and 4 ounces of coconut. Fragrance oil is the same as the first recipe, 1 ounce of fragrance oil or 0.7 ounces of essential oils. And last but not least, this is a list of the supplies that you are going to need, which I will be going over these again. That way you actually have a visual of what I'm talking about. But a scale is a definite, and you honestly, it doesn't have to be an expensive scale, but you really should make sure it's a digital, because it is so easy to get your measurements wrong if it's not a digital scale. You'll need a stick blender, 3 separate containers, preferably one of them being a large mixing bowl, and I'll show you, like I said, here in a second. Spoons or spatulas, just don't use metal. Gloves, goggles, mask, long sleeves, a soap mold of some kind, and I'll elaborate on that here in a minute, and a soap cutter. Also, we'll get to details on that here in a second. This is the lard that I will be using for this recipe. It's just a few bucks at Walmart. I think it's like $9 at Walmart. This is what I started on way back in the day, and it makes a nice, beautifully creamy bar of soap. The coconut oil that I am using is also from Walmart. It's just a great value brand. Doesn't have to be anything special. Like I said, we're making soap for our family. So you're going to need lard and coconut oil and lye, and that's it. Now, as far as the lye is concerned, grab your coffee and have a sit down, because we're going to have a little talk. Lye can dissolve a human body in as little as 3 hours under the right conditions. So yeah, I'm telling you, I'm giving you a lecture. This stuff's dangerous. I'm not joking, okay? So I don't want you to be scared of soap making, but at the same time, I just want you to understand the potential danger that you may encounter if you get silly with this stuff, okay? Now, again, super basic soap recipe. Don't let this scare you. Just pretend for 1 second that you don't see the word drain opener, because you're not going to go to the store and buy drain opener. Drain opener is not the same. You're looking for 100% lye. Now, just a starter recipe, okay? If you really want to be on the safe side, jump online and get you some cosmetic grade lye crystals, but I'm telling you, it's the exact same thing. Just please make sure it's 100% lye. You can't get drain opener. Do you hear me? Do not go out and buy drain opener. It's not the same. 100% lye crystals. You can find this in the plumbing section at Walmart. It's $5. Alright, it is showtime. The first thing we are going to do, put our scale down, Mixing bowl on, we're going to measure out our fats. So make sure you guys can see this well enough. Okay, scale is on. Put your bowl on first, that way it's a nice 0 there. And we need, remember, I am using the lard and coconut oil recipe. If you are using the lard only recipe, this recipe is going to be different. So pay attention to your recipe, not my prompts. Okay, so for this recipe, we need 12 ounces of lard. So we're going to scoop until we hit 12 ounces. This stuff is sticky, so it's real fun, and I mean that in the most sarcastic way. So we're going to measure out our 12 ounces of lard. All right, we have our 12 ounces of lard. I need you guys to understand something also. This is something else. There's no exceptions to this rule. Whatever you use for soap making, please do not use it for anything else. From that point on, literally, it's your assigned soap making dishes. Don't do it. Can't afford contamination when you're working with something this serious. Coconut oil, we need 4 ounces. I have zeroed out my scale. Again, let me scooch over here. Okay, zeroed out my scale. I know you guys can't see the scale, but just for the sake of being able to see what I'm doing. Okay, that's 3.3. We'll be real easy with it now. 3.7. 3.9. Yes, you have to be this specific. Because, like I said, you're working with lard. There we are, 4. Working with lard, lye, and coconut oil. And if you want your soap to turn out right, instead of frying your skin, you got to make sure you get this on point. We have our 12 ounces of lard and our 4 ounces of coconut oil. It is time to measure out our water / ice cubes. Put that there for a second. And our lye crystals. Okay. Make sure our scale is zeroed out. Water, we need 4.8 ounces. I'm starting with ice cubes. I'm going to get this as close to 4.8 as I can. And then I'm going to top it off with water. That's 4.3. Let's see what this one does. Ooh, 4.7. I'm good this morning. There we are. Okay. Excellent. We got our 4.8 of water. Next container. Zero out your scale. We're getting ready to measure out the lye. Very, 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 very careful. We need 2.4 ounces. No more, no less. And there it is. 2.4. I like to immediately close that back up and put it right back. That way there's no chance of any accidental spills or anything. No accidents. Okay, here we go. Now, we are done with the scale. Toss that off to the side. This is going to take a minute, okay? One thing that you need to remember is always lye into your water. Never the other way around. Ever. So, we are going to... I like to use these because they're disposable. We're going to add our lye crystals into our water, and then we're going to stir and stir and stir and stir and stir forever. And this is where your mask comes in. So get it on. Gloves and your long sleeves. We are going to gently pour the lye crystals into our water. And this always goes immediately off to the side in my sink because, again, no accidents. It is going to start melting immediately. This solution, especially if you're just using water, gets very, very hot. See how quickly this is melting the ice. Please make sure when you are soap making, you do not have children or pets around. Anybody, honestly. I have this thing with my kitchen. If I'm in the kitchen, you're not allowed to go past the split doorway. Our kitchen kind of conjoins into the dining area with a really large open doorway. And everybody knows that if I'm in the kitchen, they are not to be on that side of the doorway. This is my kitchen, stay out. So when you are making soap, that is a really, really, really wise decision for everybody because, like I said, lye in this state is very, very dangerous. Now, after saponification, which is about 48 hours, it's not so dangerous. You'll get some weird tingling if you try to use your soap prematurely, so I definitely don't suggest cheating. But as of right now, you need to treat this like it's a bomb, because it kind of is. So the ice is going to be all dissolved in there, but you're going to have this, I hope you guys can see it, foggy water. Okay? You're going to let that sit off to the side. In the meantime, while we wait for this, we're going to go ahead and get our fats microwaved.